Welcome back to another episode of Married at First Sight, Season 20 review and recap with your girl. Now, today we're on episode 13. We all caught up, y'all. We all caught up at this point. And now we only have 3 weeks left before it's time to make a decision. Are you going to stay in your marriage or are you going to move on? And so the matchmakers are very serious when it comes to these next few episodes because they want to make sure that the couples are on the right track, okay? That they are building a solid foundation when it comes to a marriage. And so, are they serious or are they not? So, we're going to start off with the most unserious couple, Marissa and Adam. Okay, so the scene starts off with Marissa. She's at her apartment. She's hanging out with her friends. They having, drinks. I don't know what was in those little black cups, baby, but it could have been champagne, could have been wine, baby, could have been fireball. We don't know. But either way it go, they was having a good time, kikiing and laughing it up as girls do when they finally get together. Now, they was in her home, okay, which is the home that she shared with Adam, that's provided by the show. And she was explaining how life is with Adam. And of course, whether they talking about pickleball and jet skis, which is quite annoying at this point. I don't want to hear about pickleball no more. I don't want to hear about jet skis. Now, I love a good game of tennis. Now, if we was talking about tennis and yachts, that's a different story. But no, I can't hear about pickleball and jet skis again. So Marissa feels the same way that I do. She said the vibes are off after this conversation. And so, which is very different because Adam said the vibes are on, but Adam is not home at this time. So, Marissa can finally speak her truth and say what she really feels. She's saying that the vibes are off. The friends start to look at concerned. They looked at each other and like, oh my God, what's happening? And both of her friends are married. And so, friend B, who was the one with the dark hair, said that she said, well, at least Marissa is staying true to her identity, which I call cap on it. I said, that's not true. You think that she's being truthful or she's staying true to herself, but she really not. We really haven't seen the true Marissa. The only thing we see about Marissa is that she is getting tired of the so called intensity of Adam. And so, and starting to, play a toll on who she is. You can start to see it in her eyes. And when she has her one-on-one conversations with the cameras, you can really hear it at that point. But when it comes to her being around Adam, she's almost like she's scared to speak her truth. So she's not being truthful to who she really is. Marissa said that in her past relationships, that she was made to feel as if what she offered to the relationship was not much or it wasn't nothing. And it was just like, well, Marissa, what do you offer? What do you what do you bring? Okay. And not that you have to bring something to a relationship. All you really need to do is bring yourself. And I guess in her past, her relationship felt like, she probably was boring or she didn't bring much of substance to the relationships. And I could see that, okay, because I don't feel like she really bringing much to this relationship as well. I think that what can you bring to pickleball and jet skis? Okay, all you could do is jump on the back of the jet skis and ride out with Adam while he driving crazy on the jet skis, and then for him to pull up to a pickleball court and want you to play like Serena Williams and Venus, and she couldn't and she can't. So she can't really measure up to what Adam is looking for, which is very superficial stuff anyway. Adam is not deep at all. And so, and Marissa saying that what she brings is not enough either. She feels like that way because that's how she felt in the past. And I feel like both Adam and Marissa are two of the same kind, just on different spectrums. Like Marissa is more laid back, chill. You could tell that she probably don't mind having a good book, and a glass of wine, and that is okay. With Adam, he feel like he's very active. He wants to go out there and be on the lake and just doing a bunch of nothing, and but he is fun to him. So, but when it comes to who they are without those two things, is they are the same. They're very one dimensional. They're very surface level. They're not very deep at all. So they kind of are the same person except on different spectrums, right? Now, she sees Adam as being very rigid and not focused on what's important. And I agree. What is very important is a solid foundation. You can't build a relationship on pickleball and jet skis. And Marissa, does not, show who she truly is, because I feel like who she really is, she don't feel like that's enough for Adam. And that's a problem already. Marissa claims that her and Adam have a good relationship. And I feel like when you take away the both sides of the spectrum and just put them in the middle, I guess it could be. Like I said, they don't get too deep with each other. They don't have the uncomfortable conversations, aka deep conversations. So, as far as the surface level of things, they both attracted to each other. Then yeah, I guess that would make a good relationship at the beginning. But eventually, that would become boring. Eventually, I don't know if that would be enough. But then again, it could be. Again, I mean, in order for you to build intimacy, you have to go deep within, okay? And then you have to go deep within your partner. And I don't feel like they have the capacity to even do that, or even the want. They don't want to do it. So, and they really actually think in their mind that they are. So that's a problem in itself. Now, she feel like they have a good relationship with some similarities, and I'm like, what, Marissa? What are the things that you feel like you are similar to Adam? There's again, when you're in the middle of things, like basic conversation, asking basic questions, then yeah, they are similar, but that's about it. I mean, when if basic was a couple, then yeah. But at the end of the day, she said that she is very much stressed and very stressed out when it came to this relationship, and that is a red flag. That is a problem. You never want to be in a relationship, especially at the beginning, honey, and stressed out with who you're with. And I can see that in her eyes, and you don't want to see that in your eyes, but you're gonna start having all type of wrinkles around the eyes, and then next thing you know, he ain't gonna want you, and he the one gave you the wrinkles, but you allow him to give you the wrinkles. So she needs to really just go ahead and just be honest with this relationship, um, and realize what you're saying. You're saying you're stressed. That means that this is not a good relationship to be in. So here come Adam. He walks into the apartment. He just now coming back fresh from the gym. So he's pumped or whatever. He comes in, he gives everybody hugs. At least he's showing that he's excited, to see everybody. Marissa said as soon as he sat down, she was like, "Oh, I told them about our bad day." And he said, it was a bad day. He said, well, to me, it was a good day. It was the perfect day. That just off top again. She comes in, the man just come in, and the last thing he want to hear when he first walk in the door is that, oh, I was sitting here telling my friends about the bad day that we had together. That right there would put me in a bad mood if I was Adam. I'm like, why? I mean, why you lead with that? I just walked in the door. Nobody wants to hear that. Okay, it's almost like you walking into the lion's den. So I felt like she was wrong for doing that, and then he didn't really take any type of heed to it. He didn't care because he was like, well, it was a bad day for you, but for me, it was the perfect day. It was a good day. So it was like he was very dismissive of what she's saying. Like she's saying it was a bad day. He don't care. It was a good day to him. So very oblivious to what's going on in the room. Like they don't read the room. They don't read each other well at all. Adam said, we did all my favorite things. So again, he's very selfish. For you to say here that she said it was a bad day and you come back and say it was a good day and you did all your favorite things. Well, remember, Adam, you're in a relationship, you're in a couple. Okay, it's two people here. So it's not just about your day. Oh, girl, where's Marissa? They they see they're not even showing up for the show, girl. I'm sitting here talking about them about 30 minutes and they just now coming to the show. See, that's the problem I got with them. Okay, they don't stay on task. But either way, Adam was like, it was a good day for me. It was all of my favorite things. Dismissive of what she's saying. She called it a bad day, and he did not incorporate anything about what she likes to do. Now, Marissa said, well, I am glad that we broke the ice on the hard conversation. You have not, Marissa. You have not broken the ice. You haven't even chipped away at the ice. The ice is still there, baby. The ice is still in the heart of your husband. He got an ice box where his heart used to be. Okay, so he's not even, he's oblivious to what your needs are at this point. And then Adam, like, for sure, yeah. And it's like, if you was to take both of them and say, okay, so what was the hard conversation? How did the conversation go? What are the details of this hard conversation? They would be stumped. They wouldn't be able to answer none of those things, okay? Because what hard conversation did you have? But the friend was like, well, why did you want to get married? And he was like, well, I always wanted to get married. Why, Adam? Why? Because I don't feel like you have the only place that I see that Adam wants a partner is so that he can have a workout buddy, have somebody to get on the back of his jet skis to kind of be like his tag along, his ride along, his plus one. That's what he's looking for. And I feel like the reason for that is because I felt like he probably felt like he was a tag along when it comes to his parents. His parents are out there living their life. They out there jet selling the ocean blues, baby, doing what they want to do, and very dismissive of his life and who he is, the same way he is with Marissa. And so I feel like, what his parents did to him, he is doing to Marissa, which is very sad. And he really needs to get some therapy behind that, because I don't think he realized or even cared that he's doing that. And they asked him, so what do you like about her? And then so he was like, well, I love her sense of humor. I mean, she likes to have a lot of fun. She's supportive and sweet. She's very comforting. And then he was like, well, I don't know. I don't know. You know. So, he just gave those type of answers. And I don't see Marissa with no type of sense of humor. She do giggle a lot because she giggles and laugh to avoid crying. I feel like, she is supportive, because she always on the jet skis. She always over there with the pickleball rack in her hand, ready to play a game of pickleball just to upset him because she can't play. And so, and the fact that she does not confront him or does not um, challenge him in any kind of way, he feel like that's comforting. He like that's good. He's like it's good to have her around. She's fun, aka she does everything I want her to do. So yeah, that's fun, to me. And then so the Marissa friends were like, oh, okay, like like oh, so it was hard for you to come up with multiple things about her, and so they started laughing and giggling, and he sat there and looked at them like, was that supposed to be funny or y'all trying to pick with me? I'm like, they picking with you, Adam, but you don't get it. But he kind of sort of got it, but he didn't say anything about it. And Marissa was like, well, um, don't want to show up as someone else like in my past. It's like, Marissa, that's exactly what you're doing, sweetheart. You are showing up as someone else because we don't really know who you are for real. You're not showing who you really are. The only thing that you showed about yourself is that you was upset that you got on those jet skis, and because think about it, they are on a TV show, so Marissa want to look her best, and then he want to put her on those jet skis, and then her little ponytail got very frizzy, and she could not, and she was upset about that because he wanted to ride those jet skis to the pickleball match. And so, and I like Marissa, the ponytail wasn't that cute to begin with, probably. Okay, because the ponytail I see, I get it, because it did look like a little not even a horsetail. It looked like a dog tail ponytail. So I get it. She was upset. Maybe the ponytail was cute when she left the cabin, but it was not cute by the time we saw it. And she just kept on playing with it, trying to fluff it up, trying to bring it back to life. And it just wasn't happening. So I get it. She was mad about that. Us girls, we want our hair to look good, especially when we're going to be on TV. You know, Adam got that dry, curly hair over there that never seems like it ever get wet. It stay frizzy, and so he don't really care. But Marissa did. So she said that's why it was a bad day because her hair, again, very surface level type of situation. Nothing very too deep. It's not like he wrecked the skis or he did anything like that. It was just that water kept on getting on her ponytail, and I get it. Okay, so the friends were like, "Are you having sex?" And it's like, girl, I'm thinking, girl, yes, honey. Now Marissa, she shook her head and was saying no, and then started cackling and laughing. It's like, girl, her and Adam were the first people to do it. They jumped in the sheets the first night. Okay, she said, "Oh, I'm gonna sleep on the couch." The next thing you know, she in the bed with Adam. So they've been getting it on. I don't feel like Adam would have stayed around if it wasn't. And clearly, it must be good because Adam is still into it. He's still happy with it and everything's good. Then the friends were like, girl, I can smell the pheromones in the room. Okay, so baby, she said the funk was in the air. She can smell it. But what she's trying to say is that she can see that the chemistry is there between these two. And, there's no denying it. So they kind of like cackled it out, laughed about it, and then they moved on. Now, the next couple we move on to is Nick and Courtney. Now, Courtney is doing what she loved to do best, honey, putting Nick down and curling her hair. So she was over there curling her hair. And then so Courtney started off, she said, I don't feel like you are being yourself. And it's like, you just met this man. You don't know who this man really is. You don't know who he is or who he's not. And you keep on trying to call him out saying that he's not being himself, as if Courtney is an easy person to talk to. And Nick said, well, I agree with you. He agreed with her. He said, I remember when I was driving the car and they flashed back to the scene. He said, and I said, let's boogie. And you said, oh, my grandma says that. And then pretty much told him not to say it again because that's something his grandma said. Her grandma done coined the phrase, baby. She copyrighted it. So he ain't allowed to use it no more, pretty much. And then, and so he said that he mirrors his environment. So if he said that if you kind of like shoot me down when I'm being myself, my quirky self, like if I say let's boogie, let me say let's boogie, okay? If your mama want to do a copyright strike on let's boogie, then I have to deal with that. But for now, I just pretty much want to say what I say. And then he said that, not only do Courtney put him down about the simplest things when he being silly and awkward, which is AKA himself. That's how he describes himself. And so he like, but you constantly barking up the same tree. You won't let it die down. You'll keep on saying it, keep on saying. He said, if I make a mistake, it's okay to acknowledge the mistakes. He said, but you keep on week after week, day after day, keep on talking about the mistakes. And it makes him feel, less than. And Courtney looks at him crazy in the mirror, baby. She gives him this evil look that even, baby, it almost made me want to change the channel, baby. It was so evil. And Nick said he noticed that, you know, uh, that she's goofy and fun when it comes to Adam. He's saying that when we went and had the pickleball match with Adam, you was being fun, you was being goofy. He said, I really like you in that environment. And he said that also you was doing the pickleball, you was very flirty. But he said that, but when you and I play, you are not. Baby, you are not. You acting like Ike Turner on the pickleball court. So he's saying that, he pretty much saying that Courtney is a different person when it comes to, I guess, somebody that she likes, because we know that she likes Adam. It's just no, it's so obvious. She already said that Adam is one of the finest men at the in the group. She said that in front of her own husband, girl. And so Nick just looked at her and just kind of like smiled. He didn't confront her and say, girl, don't be saying that around me. Don't disrespect me. He didn't come at her like that at all. Maybe she probably would have respected if he did. But either way, so she was very he said he noticed that you're fun, you're flirty, you're goofy when you're around Adam and other people. And Courtney's demeanor starts to change. Her eyes start to look angry while Nick is speaking. Now Nick is over there again trying to express himself, trying to be who he is, and she's starting to look evil and angry. The man has not said nothing bad to make her anger, to make her angry like that. Okay, those muscles start to pumping, baby. It's just like it leads me to think that Courtney may, and I kind of said it before. I'm not trying to just put nothing on her. For her to have muscles like that, it seems like you have to take some type of substance to have those type of muscles, because she's a very petite type of woman. So to be stacked like that, it takes some type of substance. I don't know, baby. I ain't trying to say steroids or nothing like that, but something similar to that to kind of get those type of muscles. Um, and maybe when she's on the show, she don't have access to that because her muscles did not seem as pumped as they did on her wedding day. You can still see she's defined and everything, and she probably still going to the gym, but I don't feel like those muscles are pumping and raging like they were the first day we met her. And so now I wonder, is she having some type of withdrawal from not having whatever she needs to kind of like maintain her physique, her looks. I don't know. But either way go, she got angry. She started getting angry. You can see it in her eyes, the way she's just mean mugging this man. This man ain't said nothing wrong yet. And then Courtney says, well, I tell you all the time that you are sexy, you are hunky, etc., etc. And then now at this point she's frustrated. She's so frustrated that she done moved her hands throughout her hair and messed up her hair. Okay, now her hair is looking wild. She was just over there curling it, trying to get it to be cute. And she messes up her hair. Now she got a messy look and an angered face. And then she started dropping the F bomb left and right. And then Nick like, well, it takes time to be comfortable with you. In other words, he's saying he's still not comfortable with you because look at you now. Baby, you about to turn to the Incredible Hulk right now as we speak. And all I'm saying is that I'm different with you because you are different with me. You too, you mean when it comes to me, and you're not mean when it comes to other people. Therefore, I can't be comfortable enough to be myself around you. That's pretty much what he's saying. But she asked for this. And then she was like, well, we are married, therefore you should be effing comfy. No, baby, you still are a stranger to him, and you're an angry stranger at that. Stranger danger. He said, how can you say I'm not being me when you don't even know me? Period. Okay, mic drop. Because he is right. He said, how can you say that? You don't even know me. Okay, you not even taking the time to get to know me, baby. Remember, we married at first sight, baby. We are strangers. You don't know who I really am, so you can't really call me out and confront me. Now, this me being gangster like this, baby. Nick was not gangster like that, but he did make a very valid point. He was like, girl, how you know me? How you know who I am if you don't know me? And then Courtney said, well, why don't I know you then? Okay, I've been wanting to effing know you since the beginning. There she go again, cussing this man out again. It's like somebody call for help. Okay, call back up for Nick, please, because Courtney is raging over there. And Nick was like, well, she is projecting her past on me, pretty much. And baby, okay, that's one thing women don't want you to do is when they tell you about what happened in their past, and then when a situation come up between you and her, and you bring up, oh, you just projecting, you just taking out what other men did to you to on me, and I have nothing to do with that. I didn't hurt you. Who hurt you? That's what women hate to hear. And so, and he was just saying that on one when he was with the cameras. He was like, yeah, she projecting her past on me because I haven't done anything to her. And for her to even want to be acting like this, to dropping the F bombs on me like this, to be snapping on me like that. And he is right. He has not done anything. I'm telling you what he said in the conversation. And nothing what I just said will cause for her to be angry. And then so Nick said, like he always do, he apologized. He said, I'm sorry. He said, it's hard for me to process. And Courtney was like, well, then as he was explaining, as he was apologizing, as he was trying to, calm the situation, de-escalate the situation, Courtney gonna pick up a shoe and then go over to the window and smash it against the windowsill. And um, she said, I gotta kill it. Talking about she gonna kill a bug in the window. Okay, it's dead. In other words, baby, she wished that that bug was Nick, baby. She wished that she had can pick up a shoe and go smash on Nick. That's what I picked up. And then Nick, the camera fanned over to Nick like, uh-oh. Nick, shut up. He shut down, and he be quiet, baby. He said that's safe for him to do at this point because she pretty much is not, at this point she's not calmed down. She's over there killing bugs, wishing that it was Nick, and so we move on. Now, at this point, everybody is kind of getting ready for the group session. They'll show little segments of everybody. Again, Courtney was over there curling her hair. And then she asked him, she said, well, how are you feeling now? It's like, girls, don't start it again. Please don't. And she is. She's starting again. And then and then Nick asked her, he like, well, how are you feeling? And she was like, well, I don't, she said, I care about you, Nick. I care. She said, I wouldn't be here if I didn't care about you. He said, but when we have these discussions, you tell me everything I do is wrong. And then so it's like, he didn't tell you not one time that what you're doing is wrong. He just saying how he feel, why he's not opening up, what are you doing to close him off. That's what he's saying. So Nick looks at her with fear and anxiety in his eyes while holding his breath because he's kind of scared, like, what can I say, what can I do at this point, because I already know whatever I say or do is going to piss her off. And then so Nick was like, he said, I don't think I ever, and before he can even get the sentence out, she said, of course you don't. Of course you don't, Nick. It's like, oh my goodness. I'm so sick of her. Nick was like, well, what you do is you invalidate. You ask me to open up and be honest about my feelings, but then you instantly invalidate them before I even say a sentence. You invalidate my feelings. You cut me off. I can't get anything out. And then Courtney was like, well, I feel. I am a very deep person. Lies. Courtney, you are not a very deep person. Now, have you opened up about your past? Yes, you have. When you open up about your past, Nick just sit there and listen. He don't say anything comforting to you. I get that. And he don't even open up about his past. So I get what she's saying about that. But she's saying she's a very deep person. She said, and I see that in you. She said, I see that in you, even though you don't show it. She said, but when she say but, baby, that means she about to snap on him. But I obviously can't bring that side out of you. And it's really tough because I'm over here like, I want to just love you. Like, love everything inside of my soul. I just think everything you're saying is surface level, superficial. You are amazing. Okay. You're smart. You're hunky. You're talented. All of those things. But when it comes to the emotional maturity, I don't know if we are at the same spot. And Nick was like, well, the way that we are trying to show up for each other are not being understood or recognized or even compatible. He said, I don't know how this works long term. And then Courtney was like, and then Courtney, here she go again, baby. She over there giving him an evil eye. She looking inside the mirror as she curling her hair again, looking inside the mirror, looking at him in the mirror instead of herself while she curling her hair slash her extensions but she ain't got nothing but a little bit hair and the rest of it extensions. And then she turns around like the exorcist, baby. Her neck turns around and look dead at him, looking very evil. I mean, girl, I would be angry. Then Nick rubs his face to kind of like, am I seeing what I'm seeing? Yes, honey. She's turned around like the exorcist, looking dead at you. And then he looks at Courtney, and then he had to leave the room. He said the energy was too dark, it was too heavy. He had to go. Now, the next people that we have on the scene is the perfect couple, baby. We have Cameron and um, Michelle. Now, Cameron starts off, and he just started off by saying, he said, today I yelled at the guys today. I lost my temper. And then Michelle was like, and they were sitting down. I think they were sitting down having, they was eating something. I think they was eating at a table. And then Michelle was like, oh my God. She said, I never saw you lose your temper or yell. And then Cameron was like, I know. That's the only time that I do it. Pretty much the only time I yell is when I'm on the court and yelling at people that's inferior to me. He didn't say that. That's what I picked up. He over there yelling at the guys. And coaches think that that's what they're supposed to do. They think that yelling is coaching. And that is so not it. Okay. Now, yes, I guess when you coaching certain type of people, I guess sometimes you do have to kind of be firm. You kind of have to be, very much let it be known that you're dominant. Not when they say dominant, that you serious, listen, demand attention. But if your coaching style is you yelling, that's why you're not getting paid the big dollars, Cameron. Right there. He said that if he was to start to win, he would get paid more money. Well, Cameron, baby, you gotta start actually coaching, being strategic, okay? Coming up with a plan, baby, coming up with some good what you call it, plays, baby. You gotta come up with some good plays because yelling is not getting it. And if you think yelling is coaching, baby, you got a long way to go. And then so Michelle laughed. She said, I need to see you practice and yell. It's like Michelle want to see the bad side of him. Michelle want to see the bad boy. She probably like a good bad boy. But she said she laughed, she want to see it because her brother already told us that Michelle has a tiger side to her, that Michelle has an aggressive side to her as well. So she kind of want to see his aggressive side so she can start showing hers. I guess that's what she wants to see. That's what I took from it. Then Cameron was like, well, I don't think that you would like that. And he said, it affects my mood. He said, I feel our relationship is perfect and I don't want to change that. He said, one day we're gonna wake up and feel differently because the passion is gone. And then yeah, I just worry. He said he pretty much just worry about that because, and when I heard him say that, I heard him say, I'm not used to being in long term relationship because I sabotage it or I walk away from it or because he said that he also been ghosted by girls that he liked. So maybe he shows a side of him that he because when you get ghosted, you don't know exactly why that person ghosted you. You just left with your own imagination of what happened. And he probably feel like, oh, I must show the side of me that they didn't like and they lost interest and they walked away from me. So he feel like he don't want to show whatever side that is to Michelle because he feel like they have a perfect relationship and he don't want to mess that up and he don't want to wake up one day and the passion is gone, the love is gone or whatever. not quite love each other yet. Let them tell it, but he don't want that to disappear. And then Michelle was like, "Well, are you worried that I'm going to lose passion, or are you going to lose passion?" And then so she started to get a little concerned because she felt like when she heard that he's not ever been in a long-term relationship, that he always finds something wrong in the relationship, that he nitpicks. So she's trying to see now who you trying to, who you placing the blame on. Do you think it's going to be me who lose the passion, or is it going to be you? And then Cameron like, well, both of us. You can lose it, I can lose it. Either one of us can lose it. And then Michelle was like, well, a relationship is more than that. Baby, it's not just about passion. It's a lot of dynamics to a person. It's a lot. And then when you bring a person that's very that has a lot of dimension to themselves with another person that has a lot of dimension to themselves, and then you combine those two together, that relationship is very dimensional. Okay, it's very full of dimensions, all aspects of each individual come together to build that couple. So it's not just about passion. That's not the only thing. That's all men worry about, is that is he gonna be able to get hard from the us being together? Is that something that we're gonna be able to do? And and it's like, sir, please, okay. It's more than that, and I agree with Michelle. It's more than that. You can tell that Michelle has so many dimensions to her, and Cameron, he's starting to show some of his dimensional sides, but again, he's not showing everything. I feel like he's afraid to do so. And then he said that she and he was then Cameron was like, well, it might change when we are married for 30 years. How are we going to make it fun? He brings up never being in a long-term relationship, and I don't know what it's like. It's like, oh, girl, it's just at this point I'd be like, Cameron, I'll be back. I'll go. Let me go pack my bags, and I gotta go because I don't have time for this type of conversation. I'm talking about 30 years, baby. Let's get past these next 3 weeks. Okay, let's take it one day at a time. They try to jump ahead 30 years, like 30 years. Oh my goodness, how are we gonna do this, baby? Let's get past today. Okay, let's focus on today. And Cameron was like, I want our relationship to be like it is now, but it won't be. She's like, it won't be. Okay, right now it's new. It's exciting. We're learning about each other. And that's what relationship have to be. You have to always be curious about each other. You always have to be willing to learn more because people grow and people change. So it should never just get boring or mundane. And that's all he's worried about, pretty much. And so she was like, no, she's like, the relationship is going to constantly change. And then Cameron, no, Cameron was like, I want our relationship to be like it is now. And he said, but it won't. And then Michelle looks worried at him. And she was like, well, a partner makes your life more fulfilling and more fun, which is false. I call cap on that. Okay. A partner do not make your life more fulfilling and fun. Okay. Again, he can add his dimensions, whatever he brings to the table or she brings to the table, yes. But you have to already be fulfilled. You have to already have those things inside of you so you don't depend on the person that you're with to do so. Because when a person come into a relationship and depend on the other person to make them happy, bring joy, bring fun, bring this, then you put too much pressure on that other person that they didn't sign up for, and then that can become draining. She said, what I that's why I fell for you. Okay. She said Cameron cup is not full, and I put in Cameron's cup is not full, and it's not. You could tell that his cup is not full. You could tell that Michelle does have a full cup, but it is not full all the way to the rim because she does see herself as lacking something. She's lacking. She feel like she's lacking love. She feel like she's lacking the ability to have children. So there are some things that's missing in herself as well. I feel like they are operating on not full cups. Okay. And I just believe that in order to have a solid foundation, a solid relationship, your cup has to be full individually. And then when you come together, anything that comes out of that cup falls onto your partner. Don't come in and expect your partner to come in with his cup or his full cup or her full cup and pour into you, because that's not fair. That's draining. That's taken away from them. And that's not what a relationship is. And it should not be that way. Now, Cameron gets into his head, like he always do. He gets into his head, And Michelle sees this, and she was like, when Cameron gets into his head, this is her talking to the camera, it makes me real nervous. She said, I can definitely feel my heart rate picking up. Decision day is on her mind, pretty much, and she thinks that he is going to say no. And we just all know that commitment is a choice and a decision. And so she feels like there is a possibility that he may not say yes on decision day, which it is a big possibility, because I feel like he has his moods where he wants to run, and he wants to pull away, but Michelle won't let him. But at the same time, she's not overbearing as well. So it's like she can kind of see that he's going into these kind of moods, and she kind of knows how to kind of adapt to it. But like she said, she's nervous about it. So this relationship is already messing with her nervous system. She feel like already that, decision day, she feeling like she's going to be abandoned, that he's going to say no, even though the relationship is allegedly a perfect right now, but it's not perfect. Okay. And Michelle is smart enough to know and see that there are holes in this relationship. And Cameron sees it too, but they're not speaking about it. So I don't want to keep my videos too long. We're going to do our 30 minutes. We're going to do a part 2 of episode 13. Stay tuned, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.